Welcome to the Holly Hall Show.
World that you created has got you feeling tired and jaded. Get your spirits elevated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Holly Hall Show. I have such an exciting show for you today and a wonderful guest. First, I'm just going to give you a brief of what we'll be talking about in the next hour. We're going to be talking about money. I was tempted to play the song "Money, Money, Money, Money" because, or what's the other songs with the word money in? Money, ching, ching. What? My husband's in there. I'm sure he knows all the songs written about money. But we are going to teach you how you can write your own story when it comes to money. Yes, you can manifest money. You can write your own story when it comes to money. And we're also going to go through all of the different astrological charts. I'm going to go through three of the signs before we bring our guest on and talk about what your money issues are and how you deal with money. Now, remember, I've already told you before, don't operate heavy machinery. No, I'm kidding. Sun signs are not who you are. It's only what you're here to learn in this lifetime. There's so much more to an astrological reading than your sun sign, just like you're much more than your hair color or the way you look or the clothes that you wear. Okay, so if it doesn't ring true to you, what I am saying, then it's probably because you don't have a lot of Aries in your chart if you're an Aries, or a lot of Taurus in your chart if you're a Taurus. Now, Aries is about spend, spend, spend. They're very impulsive, Aries are, and they live in the moment, and their spending style is also such as well. So if you want it, you buy it, and often without thinking about your financial obligations next week, only concerning yourself with the thrill of the purchase and the power of the moment. So it doesn't necessarily mean you spend a ton of money or you need to have really expensive bling. It's just that you think without thinking, or you spend without thinking. Now, however, if you want to curb your impulses and learn how to invest wisely, then you do have to work more towards a financial goal. It's something that you're going to have to work on. So, sort of like have some money come out of your paycheck and it just disappears, so you don't see it, so you can't spend impulsively. Or you know that whole story about taking a Visa or a MasterCard and putting it in the freezer in a frozen block. So you have to unfreeze it to use it, and by then you've got time to think. It's probably good advice for an Aries. Um, checks are checks are free. I always thought it said chicks are free. Checks are free. Dire straight. Yes, he's right. Now Taurus, yours is one of its not the most money minded signs of the zodiac. Financial security is extremely important to Tauruses. So even though you enjoy nice things and you tend to choose quality over quantity, you make sure that you have the money in the bank for a rainy day. So most Tauruses have a pension plan, they have a Christmas account or a jar for vacation money, very much into planning. Tauruses are. They're very good, okay, with their money. Now, Gemini, you tend to worry about money a lot because that is your nature. But remember, you have two sides to your personality: the side that can save a paycheck and after paycheck, and the other side that will blow it all in one day if you get the urge to splurge. You need to learn to rein in that freewheeling side from time to time. You have a gift of gab, and you're a quick thinker, and you're always willing to make deals with people. You're a salesperson. So if you are going to go on that spending spree, then wheel and deal and get the best possible price that you can, because Geminis can do that. I'm getting this information from kajama.com, and it's written by Maria Shaw. But without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, James. Hello, James.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm great, Holly. How you doing?
I am fantastic. You know what? What sun sign are you?
I am a Pisces.
Oh, we're going to be at the end of the show before we go talking about you. We had a long conversation a couple of days ago, and You are a fantastic coach, I have to share with our audience right now. And there's tons of people in the chat room, by the way, if anyone wants to join us. And I would say, I don't know what kind of an expert you call yourself, but I say more of a coach and a motivator. That's how you come across to me. What's your experience and how did you come across this avenue where you want to coach people, motivate people how to manifest money?
Well, it was back in 1978. I came to California as a young man, and it wasn't very long after coming, within the first couple of years or so, that I started finding my first metaphysical books and mind power books and things along this line.
Hmm.
And from the very beginning, the subject just gripped me. I didn't need anybody to convince me. I mean, I knew it just rung true. The things I was learning, this whole new world that opened up, it just rung really true. And I, scooped up every book I could find on these types of subjects at yard sales, swap meets, and old, bookstores and library book sales, and
Hmm.
old, just you name it. And I just went on a journey. Of discovery that is still going on today. And a few years into that, I started teaching this type of stuff. Of course, I didn't have the internet back then or anything. I was teaching to small groups, at metaphysical bookstores and things around the San Diego area. And I lived in Sedona, Arizona for a while. Did the same
Hmm.
thing, and so I'm teaching mind power and metaphysics, as it relates largely to abundance and things of this nature. But one thing I noticed was that even for people who had been in these studies, for some reason, it just seemed a universal theme that it wasn't working for them with money, or it wasn't working as well as they wanted to, or as well as it had worked in other areas of their lives.
Hmm.
And so I really became intrigued with that. And plus, money was always an interest of mine because, I couldn't help but notice when I had money, my life was better. And when I didn't have it, my life was worse. The more money I had, the more my time and my choices were mine. The less I had, the more I had to jump through other people's hoops just to, eat and have a roof. And so it was just a natural thing for me because of that, and because the need seemed to be there to eventually pull these two subjects, mind, power, and money, together, and
Hmm.
to hopefully, what I try to do is once and for all, really put this down in a central location. This specific subject, attracting money with mind power, in a very easy to read and easy to use form. And I think that's what I've done.
So you've written a book on this.
I've written a book on this, How to Attract Money Using Mind Power. James Goy, of course, my name is Goi Jr., and it's available everywhere from Amazon on down, anywhere basically books are sold. It's a very unique book. People can read some of the reviews on places like Amazon. And the thing I love about it, and I had this thought in mind when I was writing it, was that even if this is the first metaphysical book or mind power book a person has read, they are going to get it. They are going to understand it. And by the end of the book, with the help of the 160 quotes I have in the book from, by the way, 160 other books and separate authors, and by the end of the book, they're going to believe it. They're not going to, need to be convinced.
Right.
And but by the same token, people who have been studying metaphysics for many years really appreciate this book because they say, "Wow, I mean, you just explained it so simply. You made it so easy for me to follow. I'm not getting at the end of it and figuring, oh, I'm kind of motivated, but now what do I do? Because I have these simple steps in every chapter that basically tells you exactly what to do. So I've taken, just a world of knowledge and just boiled it down, and then, really I hand it to you on a silver platter. This is what the principles is. This is the concepts. This is why it works. Here's how it works. Here's exactly how to apply it, and then here's what other people have said throughout the ages of mankind, other great minds throughout our history. And it's just, there's no other book like it. I mean, I really did write it to be the book to go for this subject.
And have you applied this to yourself?
I have applied this to myself.
Mhm.
And I've done it over the years, but on and off. And so that's one thing that I talk about in the book. I mean, I get people focused in that you have to really do this, and you have to do it consistently. Because
Mhm.
I had my ups
Mhm.
and downs, from just great paychecks and jobs to basically even living on welfare and being,
Mhm.
a heartbeat from homeless. One time I lived in a little trailer that was about the size of a bathroom. I lived in another time. It was like a 14-foot trailer, and I lived in it with another person
Wow.
twice with little. So I have been up and I have been down. I've used these. I use one simple technique out of the book, affirmation, to go from $10,000 in credit card debt and borrowing money each month to pay the cards, plus to make up for what I needed to live, to being completely debt free in 6 weeks. Another time, I used it to go from $50,000 in, again, credit card debt, to
Mhm.
having two six-figure windfalls within a 3-month period. And those weren't my only ones. I've had three six-figure windfalls using the techniques that are in this book.
Now, was
You
these
know, and when
lottery windfalls or people? I know you told me a story of somebody literally handing you a check.
Yeah, with the $10,000, uh I finally just, I mean, it was spiraling out of control because I was borrowing money to pay the cards, and I was trying to jockey them around to, you get the offers for the lower rates, and it was just, but
Mhm.
I was starting to lose. It was starting to be like a whirlpool that was really dragging me down, and it was going faster and faster. And
Mhm.
so I said, okay, I've got to do something. And I know that I got to do something with my mind. I know that this stuff, I've been studying it for years and years and years. Got to get out of this situation fairly quickly. What am I going to do? And I just thought about it. I thought, the easiest technique that I know of, I mean, it just anybody can do it, is affirmation. But the effects are so far reaching. So I said, okay, got to come up with an affirmation. And I did. It was all of my credit cards are completely paid off. When you write an affirmation, you phrase exactly what you want as if it's already come about, with no reference to how it's going to come about, because the universe
Right.
knows better. We don't
That's
need to
important.
restrict it. Right. It's very
Mhm.
important. We don't need to
Mhm.
restrict it in any way. And so, I played around with this probably for a day or two, and I finally came up with, because you edit it and you think, well, no, I don't need this word, or no, that's not exactly what I want. But finally, I said, bottom line, all of my credit cards are completely paid off. That's what I want to be real. And so I wrote that down, and I started doing it as first thing when I woke up, when I went to bed, other times during the day, a lot of times in my mind, mentally, which is how I do most affirmations, and I think most people do. And then second would be verbally, and I actually did a lot of that too, because I was very serious about this. Riding my bike to and from work, all of my credit cards are completely paid off. All of my credit cards. And the first day or two, like anyone else, I'm thinking, I make practically zero. I'm not even making enough to live. I have no prospects to make any more at this time. How's this going to happen? I mean, I had my doubts, but I knew I had to push through them, overcome them, and give my subconscious mind a new program. And by the
Mhm.
by the second or third day, I was so excited. I mean, this was true for me. And then after that, it was just keeping the momentum going. All of my credit cards are completely paid off in my mind, verbally, every day. Start the day, end the day, and lots of times in the middle. It was
Mhm.
it was very serious, so I really focused on it. 4 to 6 weeks later, like I told you, by the way, on my YouTube channel, I tell this story in an expo talk I gave. People
Mhm.
can look that up if they want to see it. But it's basically the same story. Someone came into my life who I had only met like once or twice before, didn't even know them very well, knew them through another person, really. And I was talking about my money situation. And this person had just come up into a whole lot of money, like within just a couple of days of them being with me, like a
Right.
whole lot of money, where they could write me a check for $10,000 and not even bat an eyebrow. And that's
Mhm.
what they did. They wrote me a check and they said, "Here, you don't need that debt." And it was a gift. It was a gift.
Wow.
It was not a loan. And then the
Well, you know
six
what?
figure windfalls. Uh huh.
Go ahead. You know what? We're going to
I
just
was
go
just
to a
gonna.
Yeah, we're
Sure,
just going to
go
go
ahead.
to a station identification break. And after this break, I would like to ask you, how do you coach uh, individual people into manifesting money? Is it the same for everyone, or do you find that everyone needs a different sort of set of rules? And we'll talk about that after this station ID. Not near your computer? Then why don't you take me with you on your iPhone? Yes, you can get SpiritQuestRadio.com at iTunes. Just look up radio and scroll down to Spirit Quest Radio. Why don't you take me with you on your iPod? You can go to the archive and download any MP3 that you like in the archive and host area. Take me with you everywhere you go. Astrology. Astrology by Holly Hall. Astrology is a mirror of your soul, a reflection of who you are, who you were, who you can become. Make it happen. Have an astrology reading done. It will change your life. It'll give you a different and more positive perspective of what life has to offer you. If you would like an astrology reading, simply email me at HollyHall@SpiritQuestRadio.com. I would love to speak with you about you. Email me now. Come on, you can do it. Give me a call at 201-793-9022. And the extension to our studio is 957-9082. There are international phone numbers on our website at spiritquestradio.com. And you can also Skype in for free. Call in. I want to hear from you now. Hi, everyone. I definitely want you to call in because I want you to talk to Mr. James Goy. I hope I'm saying the word right. Goy, Goi Jr. And I'm going to ask him in a moment how you can get in touch with him. And I'm going to share with you how you will be able to get in touch with him on a regular basis here on SQR.FM. If you want a reading from me, you can email me at HollyHall@SQR.FM. And I'm going to go through the next three zodiac signs. Cancers are the more self-made millionaires born under this sign of the crab than any other zodiac sign. You would think it would be Leo or Taurus, but no, it's Cancer. And why? It's because they're promoters. They're they see the key to financial success many times, and they're very much business people, and they're also hoarders. And they're frugal, and it sounds awful that they're hoarders, but yeah, they know how to save their money, maximize their money, and then spend it to create more abundance for themselves. Cancers are also extremely intuitive people. So knowing what James is sharing with us, it sounds like they are probably able to manifest income and direct themselves intuitively towards manifesting their money. Leo lions are known to have the biggest hearts in the whole zodiac, and they love to spend money on themselves and those people that they love. They're also generous to a fault. They're also known to be shopaholics because they feel like royalty and they want to live like royalty, so they spend accordingly. Virgos tend to squeeze their dollar, and they can squeeze every dime and stretch it out as far as they possibly can. They can also smell a good sale a mile away. We're going to get back to James talking about manifesting money. James, how can people get a hold of you?
The best way online to make it simple is I've gotten a URL and it's attractmoney.biz. That's attractmoney.biz.
Good.
And from there, but if somebody wants to email me, that's simply james@jamesgoyjr.com.
Right. And they can also get a hold of you as you are listed as a host here at SQR.FM. And for everyone listening to this and my archive, he is going to be taking my place. Dear. No, I will find another place and all of you can listen to me somewhere else. But James will be from here on in. And in case you're listening to this show further on, this is March 13th. 2011. So sometime in April 2011, James will have his own show every Sunday, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So let's get back to that question. Is everyone different? Do you coach or mentor everyone differently? to manifest their own money?
Everyone is different. And for that reason, I don't have a set program of any sort that I go through.
Okay.
One thing that I freely tell people is listen, everything you need to know really is in this little book. But
Mhm.
I realize that people have a hard time motivating themselves. Some people have
Mhm.
a hard time believing in themselves. Some people
Mhm.
have a hard time sticking with something, even though they get a good, strong start. And so, in situations like this, I'm willing to talk with people, and it really just depends on the individual. What they really need is to be reminded that they have the power. There's nothing really magical about it, although it seems to be because of the results you get. But it's
Mhm.
it's just basically a science. There's certain techniques you use that universally over time have been shown to bring certain types of results, and I can help to focus the person in on what they are trying to accomplish, and I can give them, in my opinion, the best techniques tailored to their specific situations, like, for instance, helping them compose affirmations,
Mhm.
having them on some kind of a schedule, like in the morning, doing a few minutes of visualizing and things like this. And also, I'm someone that they can be accountable to and that they can check back with and look at their progress and move on from there. And if you think about it, that's what we'll be doing on the radio show. People can call in, they can tell me where they're at, what they're up against, and I'll help you through it. And then everyone else listening, when you call in, a lot of other people have basically the same exact experience or the same question on their mind. So I'm excited about that. This is going to be a great way to help people.
Well, do you mind if I share a short, very short little story
Not
with
at all.
um with our audience? And we've got a lot of people in the chat room. If you want to type in a question for James, freely put that in the chat room, and you can also call as well, and you can Skype in. There's a Skype number on the right-hand side of every single page on SQR.fm, where you can call in at 201-793-9022, and the conference ID is 9579082 #. Oh, our system will be changing soon. I'm so excited, and we'll have one big fat number instead of all these other added numbers to it. It'll be so much easier to share the number. I had a situation. I don't really want to give out the details right now, but I did have a situation that I needed solved, and it was a business situation. It is a business situation. And my biggest thing at the time was I just don't have the money. That's why I can't solve this problem. And I have to say, Dr. Bill, who's also a co host on Thursday, he was one of the ones that sort of helped coach me because he's had a similar story that you've had, from rags to riches to rags to riches. And he's a scientist as well. And so he kind of helped coach me through that. And sometimes you don't have to have a Dr. Bill, and you might not have to have a James, although he'll be free to help you out on a Sunday night. But I think sometimes it's just having a friend, or even if you journal it, you need to brainstorm and bounce things off. That's how you sort of come up with things. So what happened was I ended up thinking, well, okay, it's not about the money. I'm going to take that out of my dialogue that it's about the money. I'm just going to say, this is my problem. I need it solved. That's all I put out there. I took away from the fact that I am lacking of money. So what happened, and this is going to surprise people, somebody did come into my life at the end of 2010. And it was a perfect situation. He was a professional at what he did. He was a little bit down and out. He was willing to help me at a very minimal cost and become like a business partner so that he would reap the benefits. So it was a win-win situation. And I was so excited. And he totally understood what I needed to have done because it was quite a complicated um, issue that I had. It was not easy just to find anyone to solve this problem. And then what happens? I mean, I'm so sorry, God forbid, but he had a very serious heart condition that decided to act up just before Christmas, and poof, he can't work anymore. He lost part of his vision, so he cannot do the job for me anymore. So here I was in a situation that I finally thought I had the situation solved, and then it wasn't solved. All of a sudden, I thought, you know what? I did come across that this can be solved. I met someone who showed me that this problem can be solved. There's got to be other people like him out there that are as intelligent as he is and as thoughtful and giving as he is. I'm sure he's not the only one on the planet. So I put it out there. I went on to sites. I found a professional, and it's exactly what I did. I hired somebody with no money. Okay. I had no money. And I literally told the person, I don't have the money, but I'll make it happen. And we made it happen. We little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit from over here, a little bit from over there, and it's happening. This took me a year and a half, I would say. No, no, I wouldn't say a year and a half. A year. A year from knowing there was a problem and being frustrated to now having the problem finally solved. Does that sound like a similar story to you, James? Does that sound like a story that a lot of people might have?
Yes, it really does. And, I teach people how to attract money, but a lot of times people don't actually need the money they think they need. And there are ways that things come about um, through the universal workings of energy and consciousness when you're in line with them.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we put money, like I need money to do this, or this is going to cost that amount of
Uh-huh.
money, and if I don't have that money, I can't do it. And
Yeah.
there are often times when that's not true. So
Mhm.
sometimes we make money an unnecessary restriction on the results that we're getting. And an example that I like to give is someone who really needed a car and to get to work and stuff. And I told them, I mean, they told me they need this money to be able to get this car. And I said, well, you don't really need the money. You need the car. And we talked about this. They changed their focus. Their sister ended up buying a new car shortly after that, and knowing of the other sister's plight, gave her the car. So it's good to have
Yeah.
money. We can attract money, but I want people to know that some of the things that you think can only be gotten with money can be gotten without money. And that's why I tell people don't have any restrictions on how your money is to come to you, but also don't put the money restriction on how other things can come to you.
Now, do you teach about just manifesting? Like, for instance, I had a similar story with somebody I did a reading for about a year ago, and I actually took out the car part. Like, you just need to get to work. And what ended up
Hmm.
happening was somebody moved in. The house next to her was, or down the street, not too far away, was for sale. And somebody moved in who worked right near where she worked and offered her a ride to work and home every day. They worked at the same time. So
Hmm.
sometimes I guess it doesn't actually have to do with a car as well too. You can
That's
manifest
true.
abundance. I
See,
suppose it's just
a
abundance,
car
right?
can be an unnecessary restriction in itself. And the amazing thing about um, when the universe works things out is universally. I mean, you'll never see a this not work this way, and that is when it's really worked out by spirit, by the universe. It's totally win-win for everyone involved. No one is on the losing end of the deal. And that's why I love working with mind power and the universal energies, because as long as I know the outcome that I want, the universe can bring that about in a way where nobody has to lose. In other words, somebody else doesn't have to lose in order for me to gain. Everyone can gain.
Well, the one thing that I learned, I don't know if you've ever heard of Summer McStravick. She syndicates a show here on SQR.FM, and she's been with Hay House. Um, the one thing that she'd said in one of her flow dreamings, which is a type of manifestation that I'll never forget this saying, is that money is energy and it's flowing and it's constantly moving, no different than the air is moving, than water is moving, and it's going to go somewhere. It's always going to be moving and going somewhere. So why can't it come to you?
Exactly. And we need to really understand that money does move, money must move. And when people try to restrict the natural flow of money, both in and out, we
Right.
restrict like people, they can't receive. Like they do something and if somebody wants to give them some, oh no, I can't accept anything.
Yeah.
Other people, or
I'm not
sometimes the same
worthy.
people, right, exactly. Other
Yeah.
people, sometimes the same people, can't let anything go. They can't let money flow
Isn't
out
it?
of their hands because they're afraid they won't have any later. Well, if they won't accept any, they have good reason to be concerned. But
Mhm.
we want to really be in balance with it. and balance is the key word, but we want to let the natural flow of the universe, we want to be a participant, but more of an observer, or at least as much an observer as a motivator or as a creator. It needs to come in, it needs to go out, and all the time. We need to be conscious of what's going on, and we need to be loosely, um, meaning without being attached to the results in a negative way, we need to be moderating the process
Oh, you're
without
singing my
fear.
tune. Yes,
Hmm.
you're singing my tune. I study, a lot of my audience knows I study Buddhism a lot because I love the concept. Never will become a Buddhist, I'm sure. I'm not that strict with my disciplining, but I love the concept. And a lot of that has to do with the art of attachment. We've got a station ID to go to, James, but after that, we've got a question by Jacqueline in the chat room, and she wants to know, do you use methods include mind power, or does he use tools such as candles, crystals, etc.? So if you can answer that after this ID. Not near your computer? Then why don't you take me with you on your iPhone? Yes, you can get SpiritQuestRadio.com at iTunes. Just look up radio and scroll down to Spirit Quest Radio. Why don't you take me with you on your iPod? You can go to the archive and download any MP3 that you like in the archive and host area. Take me with you everywhere you go. Astrology. Astrology by Holly Hall. Astrology is a mirror of your soul, a reflection of who you are, who you were, who you can become. Make it happen. Have an astrology reading done. It will change your life. It'll give you a different and more positive perspective of what life has to offer you. If you would like an astrology reading, simply email me at hollyhall@spiritquestradio.com. I would love to speak with you about you. Email me now. Come on, you can do it. Give me a call at 201-793-9022. And the extension to our studio is 957-9082. There are international phone numbers on our website at spiritquestradio.com. And you can also Skype in for free. Call in. I want to hear from you now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Holly Hall Show. We are talking to James Goy, and he specializes in manifesting money. He is going to be a host here on SQR.FM, and in a few weeks, you can hear him right here, right at this time. Yes, he's taking my place here on SQR. I'll be moving to another part, another day, and another time, so I won't disappear completely. We're going to go through Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. Libra, you try to balance everything in your life, but sometimes balancing your checkbook can be tough because you're a peace at all cost person. And basically, you just don't want to deal with it. It's kind of stressful. So you might forget about it, dealing with the checkbook every once in a while. You do love to entertain and spend money on entertainment, such as nice clothes, going out for dinners. Scorpios, you don't mind paying for a lot of money for something you deem important and necessary, but on other items you could care less. You also probably hide money and have a secret bank account. Sagittarius, you're ruled by the abundant Jupiter, so bigger is better. You were apt to think money grew on trees when you were younger. You could easily find yourself in debt in your 20s, but as you age, you tend to become much more financially savvy. So, James, we had that question. Do you just use mind power, or do you use tools such as candles and crystals, etc.?
I will preface my answer by saying that I advise people to do what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
If if candles work, if that's part of a ritual they do with whatever belief system or understanding they have, it works, then do it. I mean, we could debate, and I don't, but people could debate why it works, or is it there's something in the candle? Is there something in the shared consciousness of all people who use candles that has created some? Is it the person's individual belief? We could go on about that, but the point is, what people are comfortable with and what works for them, I tell them to use it. I myself do not use or teach any such methods of candles, crystals, or whatever. I
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
what I teach and what I have been practicing all these years is basically metaphysical technique. It's the application of mind power for specific end results. And how you access your own mind power is basically through your thoughts, feelings, and images. And when you know how consciousness works, you understand your subconscious mind, how it is connected to the universal subconscious and thus every other mind on the planet, and how we can make in this case, money, which is the goal of what I teach, a flow, then we know
Mhm.
how to think, feel, and what images to have in our conscious minds and to give rise to in our subconscious minds. I do use a couple of little tools that I like, and I use them often, and
Mhm.
that is pen and paper. To me,
Okay.
the pen and a piece of paper is among the most powerful metaphysical tools because there's something so powerful about writing something down. It becomes,
You're
and a
right.
lot of teachers talk about it, and very few even try to really say, listen, I know why that is. Because we don't really
And
know,
we're
but
losing that art too of writing, aren't we?
Exactly. And whether
Mhm.
it's an affirmation you write, whether it's a goal you write down, whether it's your plans, your devised, ways that you think you may be able to get to the goals that you're seeking, pen and
Mhm.
paper are magic. But so the short answer is I don't use those things, candles and crystals and things, but I don't discourage people from doing whatever works for them. But let's say someday, and by the way, the things I teach work for anything, but I apply them specifically and teach them specifically having to do with money. But let's say you're in a situation sometime where you don't have any candles, you don't
Mhm.
have any crystals. I mean,
How are
I
you gonna?
have
Yeah.
moved. Just to give a couple of really quick examples. One time, a close person with me, we were traveling between states. We were in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a desert. I don't even remember where. It was out here some west, out here somewhere west, and the car stopped. It just went dead. All the
Mhm.
electric, everything. The power steering went out, and I was just able to pull the car over. Now, me and this person are both very psychic in our own rights. We can sense
Mhm.
things. And both of us sensed that there was danger in our immediate future. In other words, we both knew. I get the hairs on the back of my neck stand up right now when I'm talking about it. We both knew there was a car heading
Right.
towards us. We didn't know which direction it was coming from, but it was bad news, and it was going to be bad news for us. And I said, we were out in front of the car. We had the hood up, and I said, we're going to get back in this car and we're going to drive away. And
Mhm.
I absolutely knew. I mean, there was no doubt because I had no choice. We got in the car, started it up, and we drove away. And then more than once in situations where, with the same person, we had moved to a new state. Upon arriving, I said, I am not going to stay in a hotel tonight. I am
Mhm.
going to find a place that we are going to live in for as long as we are here, which was always
Right.
at least months. Now, within the next few hours, I'm sleeping in my own home tonight. And when I put it in that way and I have that certitude, okay, and I didn't have any candles, I didn't have any, whatever, it works. All I needed was my own mind, my own determination, and just to say, um, this is going to be. And that's the
Right.
power of mind power. That's the power. You don't need anything else if it helps you use it, but it's some powerful stuff.
Well, the follow-up question that Jacqueline had was, how do you? She says, and how does he remove the negative thoughts? This, for instance, quote, this can't work, quote, unquote, from the method. Or how does he counteract the bounce back from the mental naysayer? That's a great question because I can
Yeah,
relate to that.
exactly. Yes. And here's the thing: um, what we resist persists. We give might to what we fight. So, knowing this is how consciousness works. It's an interplay of energy. It's how it works. We don't fight negativity directly. In other words, I don't teach people to try to stop their negative thoughts. I teach people to think positively because you're not thinking positively and negatively at the same time. Now, energy flows where attention goes. So if we have our mind on these positive thoughts, just by that act, we don't have them on the negative thoughts. And what we find is And what, if anyone out there's read any quantum physics, what we know, even with modern science, is that where we put our attention and based on our expectations and things of this nature, we actually mold reality. We mold material reality as we go along. So we can overcome negative thinking, negative thoughts, insecurities, fears, and all of these things, but not
Mhm.
by directly attacking them and trying to overcome them. Because the harder we fight them, the harder they will fight back. They will die off of their own dead weight when we remove our attention from them. So I'm not saying it's like the easiest thing in the world you're ever going to do. It's not. But I'm telling you,
Mhm.
most people approach it in the wrong way. They try to wrestle with these negative thoughts, or they try to,
So you're
they
giving it
spend years on the
power.
couch.
You're
Yeah,
paying
they
attention
spend
to it.
years on the couch trying to
Right.
figure out where they came from,
It's
and that can
it's
even
like
help validate them.
yeah, it's like trying to blow out the fire when you have a fire on the stove. That's not something they would suggest you do because the more you blow on it, it's probably going to make it more of a fire, right?
Right,
Because you're
exactly.
giving it oxygen, and that's what fire likes. Jacqueline said that's answer. She says I can use. Thank you with big huge explanation marks after it.
You're
So she's
you're very
happy.
welcome.
And Gabriel asks, "What is the law of attraction in money manifestation?"
Well, the law of attraction, as you know, the secret, which is basically the law of attraction, popularized by Oprah, put together by Rhonda Byrne, basically a three-step process that people talk about: ask, believe, receive. And asking is basically getting clear, deciding what you want, perhaps writing it down, anything that helps you get clear and decide and make a decision on what you want. That's asking. Second step is believe. It's believing that you already have the thing that you want, even though you can't see it yet. You believe that you already have it. Not that you will, but that you have it. And that's largely a function of subconscious belief because our subconscious does not have a concept of time. It doesn't know, past or future. It just knows either it thinks something is real or it doesn't. And then the third step is receiving, and that's feeling, basically feeling as if you have already received it. How will you feel when you get it? Feel that way now. So that's basically, the teacher will explain the law of attraction. The teacher will say, hey, this is the law of attraction. That process is very solid, and it is within what I teach. In other words, these are all valid concepts and principles, and the techniques that people have to apply these. One thing is, we apply it specifically to money. But in
Mhm.
my book, I go in other directions that maybe other teachers don't go to as much, or certainly don't shine the light on as brightly. And I give chapters to subjects such as environment, organization, planning, self image, speaking as if. In other words, I give, just the subject of environment as an example. The environment that is around us, excuse me, is what we basically have created. And in turn, our environment is now creating us, because not only is our environment a reflection of our consciousness, but our environment then in turn affects our consciousness, and it becomes a closed and in many times negative loop. So that's just one example of how I'm helping people to make new distinctions and to see the seriousness of, literally, whether or not the drawer in the kitchen is a complete mess or it's neat and orderly, and the things that are supposed to be in there are in there, and the things that aren't. Because if your house is a mess, if your house is disorderly, if your room or your desk or the trunk of your car is, in shambles, that is a reflection of your thinking. And by beginning to think more clearly and in a more focused way, like I teach, you will naturally find yourself organizing and, smoothing out your environment. But here's a really amazing thing that a lot of people don't think about or know. If you just start to organize your environment, just physically go over there, clean that drawer, get rid of some stuff out of that closet you don't use or whatever, your mind will start clearing up as a
Oh, I
result
love
of the
that.
physical action. It works
I
both
love
ways.
that.
And that's why, in my book, for this specific subject of money, I approach it in so many ways that you it's going to happen for you. If you do what I tell you, it's going to happen because
I love it.
I yes, it encompasses the law of attraction, but really it's a lot more than just the law of attraction.
Right. All right. We've got a station ID, our very last one, and then I'm going to go through the last three zodiac signs and how each zodiac sign deals with money. And then I want to talk a little bit more about your book. And yes, everyone, we're going to have James on back next Sunday so we can go through some major pointers on how to get you started on manifesting money. We'll talk about this after the ID. Not near your computer? Then why don't you take me with you on your iPhone? Yes, you can get SpiritQuestRadio.com at iTunes. Just look up radio and scroll down to Spirit Quest Radio. Why don't you take me with you on your iPod? You can go to the archive and download any MP3 that you like in the archive and host area. Take me with you everywhere you go. Astrology. Astrology by Holly Hall. Astrology is a mirror of your soul, a reflection of who you are, who you were, who you can become. Make it happen. Have an astrology reading done. Change your destiny. It will change your life. It'll give you a different and more positive perspective of what life has to offer you. If you would like an astrology reading, simply email me at HollyHall@SpiritQuestRadio.com. I would love to speak with you about you. Email me now. Come on, you can do it. Give me a call at 201-793-9022. And the extension to our studio is 957-9082. There are international phone numbers on our website at spiritquestradio.com. And you can also Skype in for free. Call in. I want to hear from you now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Now I'm going to go through Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, which our guest happens to be a Pisces. Again, as I said, if it doesn't ring true to you, it makes absolute sense to me because your astrological sun sign is not all of the layers of who you are. But nevertheless, just for fun, Capricorn, you can be very cautious with purchases and prefer to buy things on sale. Some friends and family members may call you cheap, and yes, you can be frugal, but when it comes to helping those you love, you do tend to have a generous heart. Aquarius, having a lack of money will never stop you from buying something you want. It may take you a little longer to get the object of your desires, but rest assured you're going to get it. Sounds like Aquarius might be very good at manifesting money. I have an Aquarius moon, so maybe that's my excuse for my recent manifestations. Now, Pisces, there are more millionaires born under your sun sign than any other. There are more self-made millionaires under the sign of Cancer. However, more millionaires born under the sun sign of Pisces. For some Pisces, there are no boundaries when it comes to shopping. But once you find a good balance, there is no stopping you from getting the best out of life, materially speaking. Well, doesn't that make you perfect for the job, James?
I think so. I was born to do it.
You were born to manifest. Gabrielle says in the chat room after you answer her question, very well put. Number one, visualization. Number two, gratitude. Number three, procrastination is anathema to action. Anathema. I'm not quite sure I'm understanding that there. Do we get a reading today? No time for readings, Gabrielle. Maybe in a couple of more weeks, once I get my own show started up again. We have 6 minutes, not even 5 minutes to go, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your book. Where can they buy your book, first of all?
You can get my book basically anywhere. Again, it's How to Attract Money Using Mind Power by James Goy, Goi Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And it's available anywhere really that new books are sold, from Amazon on down. You can order it locally if you call your Barnes and Noble or whatever. And also, if you'd like to get your hands on it quickly, just call toll free 877 buy book, and my publisher will ship it to you within 24 to 48 hours. And if you like your Kindle reader or whatever, the book is available on Kindle and some other readers, I think like Sony Reader and things of that nature.
How long is the book? How many pages?
The book is only really the whole book itself is only about 100 pages. The
I
chapters
like it.
themselves, you got to remember I quote 160 other books in here. So
Mm.
the bibliography is like 13 pages or so.
Aha!
And
Wow.
the chapters themselves come out to about um, 80 pages. I mean,
Mhm.
when people read this, they are just always so surprised. Not only, I mean, you can sit down and read it in a sitting or two, but that there's so much information in it and that
Mhm.
it's so clearly stated and that it's just like I said earlier, it's just this understanding, this science is handed to you on a silver platter. You read through this book once, it takes you one or two sittings, even without doing the all of the different exercises I have for you to do and things like that, which
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
optional and you can pick and choose. But just read it once. Your life will never be the same. You will never, ever think about money in the same way. You will have a new understanding or an expanded, you know, ex- understanding with more distinctions made in your mind than you've had before. And you don't forget things like that. They stick with you, and you tend to act in line with that.
Now you find that and I find this when I've done trying to change a pattern in my life, be it an instinctual pattern, a mental pattern, um, patterning from my past. I need to either read something or watch a CD or listen to it more than once. So, for instance, I did go through some rituals with manifesting the money that I needed for this change. The next time I come across another pitfall, I'll do the same thing again just to retrain my brain, so to speak. So it sounds like your book would be easy to read more than once every time you need it.
Yes, and I tell people really the best way is to read it just right through the first time. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
after that you can go through and go through it slowly. But I also suggest in the end of the book there to read from it every single day. Make it your best friend.
Mm.
And even if it's just opening up and reading one quote
Just
or one
open up
page or one
anywhere.
paragraph,
Yeah.
open it up anywhere. If you're inspired to look at the table of contents and pick something out, fine. Otherwise, just open it up and trust the universe. And even if it's just a little snippet, this will help you to feed your mind and to keep you focused on a daily basis. Because otherwise, people forget and they do go on with their life, and they might be a little bit more
Useless.
adept at thinking properly, but not
Mm.
in a real enough way to really make huge financial changes in their lives. That requires a little more focus and a little more consistency.
Can they find you on Facebook?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. You know, Facebook.com/James Goy Jr. I also have a fan page on Facebook and or public page, whatever they call it, and I'm on
Mhm.
Twitter and some other sites. But if they go to attractmoney.biz, the page that they land on in the right-hand column has a list of links to lots of other places where I can be found. I'm on YouTube, of course, and other such places.
Yeah, so is there a best place for them to go to for your daily inspiration or weekly inspiration or blog?
At this point, again, I would say attractmoney.biz. That is my Author
Awesome.
Nation page. And I do
Mhm.
post something on there nearly every day of the year. I have a little, I post about my radio interviews and stuff like that. So that's a great way to keep up with that. And I have a series I'm working on right now. It's called James Goy Jr. Says. And each
Mhm.
day, I mean, these things literally take only a few seconds to read. They're two, three, 4 lines. They'll make you laugh. They'll make you think. They'll enlighten you, whatever it happens to be that day. But and now I just wrote. I think today it was like number 1006. James Goy Jr. says number 1006. So
Oh,
they
I
add
love
up
it.
over time.
I
Yeah,
love it.
they add up.
We've got 25 seconds left. I want to thank you, James. This has been wonderful, informative. I think just listening to this is going to get us all on the path. So anyone who hasn't listened wants to share this with somebody, go to the archives and send it to somebody that you love and care for, who you would like to see them manifest. We'll talk to James again next week about money. And with everyone, may the stars be with you. Good night.